I am so glad that you have joined me here again for an episode of Who Was I Living With? This is part 3 of my foster care experience. So this is home number 3 in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. And it was a lot of different emotions and ups and downs, great experiences, and things that taught me a hard lesson. So when I got to Boyertown, this was right after we left Mount Poconos. My sister and I were taken to Boyertown, PA, and we walked into a mom and dad, sisters, because there was a lot, and one brother. And the house was big. It had a living room on one side, a big living room or family room on the other side. It was divided by the hallway, kitchen, dining room, backyard. There was rooms, library, game room, I think, or workout room or something it might have been on one side. The other side there were bedrooms on that side. Needless to say, you never ran out of things to do. There was always someone to play with, always somebody to talk to, and always somebody to argue with. I loved it. When I went to this foster home, I was scared. I was upset, I was hurt, I was angry. I still wanted to go home. That did not change. But it was so much of a distraction that it allowed me to suppress how I was feeling. It was easier to suppress what I was feeling inside than to be angry because no one seemed to ask you, how are you feeling? What's going on? How do you feel about being here? No one cared to stop and ask us that. So it was just easier to suppress. And that was where I learned how to suppress my feelings and begin to find things that numb how I was feeling. And it was overwhelming when we walked in. I felt overwhelmed. When I walked in and I was overwhelmed, I realized that I knew one of the girls from Allentown, PA there, and that was a nice thing. I was also with my biological sister. That was a great, thing for me. And my sister actually knew one of the girls that lived there as well. So it wasn't like, we didn't really know anybody. So that put us at ease. There were many great moments like family dinners. We had a lot of family dinners. We sat around the table and we ate. My sister and I shared a room with my sister Jamila at first. It was a nice time. Another memory that I love, that's my favorite memory, is we used to celebrate birthdays there, and when you got celebrated, it made you feel special. So sometimes they made you feel like they forgot your birthday and they would do it the day after, or however many days after it was, but it was still nice to be celebrated. And so, yeah, I really love that. I really love that in some areas they made you feel special and noticed. We didn't have internet, so we had to find things to do. So we always were outside playing. I believe their land extended to the highway, kind of. So we had a whole bunch of land to explore. We had ponds, one little pond and one big pond. The big pond has snapping turtles in it, so you had to be careful. But we also had an in-ground pool where we would go swimming. We would build snowmans in the winter. My favorite holiday was Christmas. This was the first home that Christmas felt like a family gathering. It was just, we would make the garlands, the greens by hand. So we would actually tie them with the wire, and then we'll hang them up. We also hung up a lot of cards. So all the Christmas cards that my foster parent received, they would hang up. At this age, I still do it with my kids. We hang up our Christmas cards. She was big into nutcrackers. So she had a lot of nutcrackers we would put up. And fell in love with nutcrackers. So I am a fanatic when it comes to nutcrackers. The play, nutcrackers that you put up in your house, like I love it all. So yeah, Christmas was a beautiful time there. We baked together. I remember getting the cast iron pans ready. You would have to clean all of the candlesticks, candle holders. What else? We went to Christmas Village. Christmas Village was my place. I loved it. I love seeing the little villages, the trains. You got hot cocoa there. You seen all the lights. It was just a great experience. In this foster home, every holiday seemed to feel like a special holiday. Like they celebrate Halloween, our foster mom would make the costumes. They celebrated Valentine's, you would wake up to a bag on the table. Easter was annoying. Although I liked it because you knew that you were gonna get something special, Easter was annoying because she would put a string to your door or your bed if you shared a room, and you would have to follow this string all the way to your basket. And if you got impatient and pulled or did something wrong, you would tangle everybody else up, and that would upset them. So it was fun but annoying. So that was the only time that I really celebrated Easter, was in that house. Thanksgiving was big too. We would have Thanksgiving dinner. It was just the whole like family environment type. So it just felt really nice to celebrate things as a family. And I got attached to a lot of my sisters there. It was a great time. OMG, it's like flooding. I did this video so many times because it's like I get flooded with so many memories, and it's hard for me to give you guys everything. So I'm just trying to give you I'm just trying to give you a preview of what we went through in this home, because it was just, yeah, we made a lot of memories. I remember going out as a family. We'd go to like dinners and outings and things to that nature. We would also travel a lot. So we went to Niagara Falls, which was beautiful. I fell in love with it. It's my favorite place to this day. We went there, we stayed in a hotel, and you would overlook the fall. And then we went on the Maid of the Mist. You got wet. We went in the cave. It was dark, so it was scary. We would climb rocks. It was just a great time overall, great experience. We went to Washington, D.C. We went to Baltimore, which was my favorite place because they made fudge and they would sing. You would get to taste the fudge and have a great experience. We went to Hard Rock Cafe. Where else did we go? I know we traveled a lot, so it's hard to remember everywhere we went, but we got the experience of traveling. So that was a beautiful memory for me. I absolutely loved the schools when I was there. I did love the schools. They were peaceful, beautiful. They were mainly, overall, they were Caucasian, white people. Us and another home were the only ones that had colored children, black and colored children. So we were the most in this house. We had the most, and it was, for me, it was a great experience. I didn't really have to deal with the things that my sisters dealt with, but it happened to me one time where a boy, he called me the N-word, and he regretted that because it was just, I wasn't having it. You know, I stood up for a lot of the kids in my school that were afraid of the bully, the school bully. She used to bully people and they were afraid of her, and that wasn't me. So yeah, I stood up for them, and that's how I made a lot of friends. In a sense, I wouldn't call them friends. For the purpose of this video, I'll say friends, because they began talking to me, but I noticed that they would only speak to me when we had an art project or we had some type of coloring, creative thing to do, or they needed protection. So I didn't like that feeling because it was like they wouldn't really speak to me outside of class. But there were a couple, let me say this, because there was a few girls that invited me to things, you know, like birthday parties, cookouts, pool parties. I did get invited to things, you know, so, but there were a lot of people that did not want to be seen with me in the hallways. So that just didn't feel right. It didn't feel good. Because I felt that way, and I was a person, I sought after laughter and being happy and making other people happy. And although sometimes I would shrink back, there were moments where I would, you know, be around people and want to have conversations and that sort of thing. So one day in 5th grade, I tried out for like a relay we were having, and I realized that I was fast, and so did my teachers. So when I went into 6th grade, they recommended I would run track. And when I ran track, I fell in love with it because I began to make, you know, I was able to make friends. I was able to have people to talk to and people to cheer you on and congratulate you when you won and be excited because you helped the team win. So yeah, because I ran the 100 meter dash, 200, 400. I did shot put and I did the relay. And I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it because it just got me out of my shell. And it felt good to, you know, just have people notice you and congratulate you. I didn't like that I didn't have my family there, you know, to cheer me on like everybody else did. That hurt. That seriously hurt. I remember my foster father and my sisters going to one track meet that I had, and my caseworker showed up too, actually. And it was a good feeling. I just wish that I had more of it. My foster mom, she showed up to one concert that I had. And yeah, it just didn't feel good to not have people there supporting you, or, you know, your family there. Every child wants their family, their mom and dad there cheering them on. And I didn't really have that. So that was the part that really stuck out to me when I was trying to come up with, you know, trying to think of all of the things that we did there, things that hurt me as well. That was the main thing that hurt me, was that I didn't have their full support. But yeah, overall it was a great experience. There are so many things, like I can remember playing hide and seek with my sisters. We would walk to the park and play tennis, and swimming was fun. I stayed in the water a lot, so swimming was fun. It was just like, I don't know, you never had a dull moment, that's for sure. So we also like got the chance to work at Zern's Farmers Market with my foster parents. My sister and I, we worked at the seafood stand with them, and my other sisters had jobs throughout the farmers market. And it was a great experience because you learned how to make money, you helped the customers, you know, we got to make seafood, we got to eat it. So I loved when Sunday came. Oh, we loved it because we had seafood for dinner, and it was amazing. It was my favorite part. And yeah, so you would get a paycheck and you would have to save it. So it was like, I wish I could have spent some of my money, but they taught me how to save. They taught me the love of working. Like, they taught me how to be responsible and work for my money, and I just loved it. I fell in love with Boyertown. Was the first home where they labeled me mentally retarded. And that label stayed with me because nobody explained to me what it meant. They just put me in a class with a small group, and it was special education, and people knew that you were in that class, and they would, you know, say their little remarks or whatever the case may be. But no one ever really teased me. I was in mainstream, and I was also in that class for certain classes. No one ever really teased me, but it was an embarrassment for me. And then it became my identity. So they didn't push me to try, and they didn't push me past what they thought I can do. So it was just like, okay, I don't really get homework. Okay. My foster mom, she made us do study hours. So even if I didn't have homework, I had to find something to do or read a book, this, that, and the other. Like, and I remember I was reading one time, and one of my foster sisters said, I don't know how she's reading that book. She can't even read. And that was, OMG, if somebody can just stab me, it probably would have felt better than that comment, and it just killed my confidence. It really did. So in front of people, I would be afraid to read. But in my head, as I was going through everything, like in a book, I can skim through it and make sense of it. But in public, it's nerve-wracking. It's still nerve-wracking for me now, to speak or to read or whatever the case may be. But I work at it every day. I work at it because that's not who I am. That's not who I am. And it was my ex-husband who said to me, "You're not dumb or stupid. You just need practice." And he would sit every day at my dinner table so that I can graduate the school that I went to. And even through all of I went back and got my high school diploma. He was encouraging me. I went through baking school, medical school, and coaching. And he was just encouraging me to keep going. So that's something that I'm always grateful for that he did for me, because it allowed me to have confidence in myself. But yeah, that was the first place where I got labeled mentally retarded. There was one teacher, my favorite teacher, Miss Beck, who's my math teacher, who pushed me, and she would actually read books to us. And it was just like she cared. It wasn't just a job for her. It was like she really cared. Not only did she teach, she entertained. I remember her nails were so beautiful and inspiring. That's why I get my nails done now. She was just beautiful. She was just a sweet person and a caring person. And I just remember loving to go to school because of her. And I am in contact with her now. And it's people like her that make it easier for students to go to school when they're having to deal with so much at home. And I just appreciated that. I appreciated my track coaches who, they believed in me and they saw something in me and they would push me on the field. So, yeah, it was just an amazing experience overall. We did have to deal with racism. We did have to deal with people saying the N-word or throwing sodas at us when we'd walk to the park, that sort of thing in the neighborhood. But it was few in between. It wasn't like every day that we experienced that. It wasn't every day. It wasn't every moment. It wasn't all the time at school. Like, I really had a great experience in this house. There was a few things like that. That's one of them that I don't like. There was a few other things that happened that I don't like that stayed with me. Like, I didn't agree with some of the tasks that they gave us. I had to dig a whole mountain up out the ground, dig it down, and it was tall. But I had to do it by myself. Put the dirt in the wheelbarrow all the way to the other piles and dump the dirt, come back, do it all over. And it took me weeks, but I did it. And, it was just like, y'all have a lot of businesses and income. Like, y'all can hire somebody to do this stuff. Even some of the things that my sisters had to do, I didn't agree with, because there were some chores that they called chores that just seemed a little like on the verge of slavery. I'm gonna just say it that way. And like when we had to clean the grout with a toothbrush on the floor, with whatever solution we got, we had to clean it and scrub it and make sure it was clean. It just didn't feel right to me. And thinking back on it now, it's just something that, I don't feel like we should have had to do. Having things clean, okay, I get it. Because like if we did our chore wrong, we would have to pay $3 out of our paycheck to our foster parents. And we did our chore wrong. She used to say, a lazy man works twice. Do it right the first time. You don't have to do it again. Great. That was a lesson. But some of the chores, some of the tasks that we had to do outside just didn't seem right to me. Another thing that I remember that just hurt me was when all of my sisters began leaving. I was hurting. I was so hurt. I didn't know how to deal with it. And my foster father, he was hurt. My foster mom was hurt, but she didn't take it out on us. My foster father was hurt. And instead of sitting us down, talking to us, healing as a family, it was like he got so aggressive with his words, and he was basically, I guess he was in protective mode, protecting his wife, you know, but it was just the way that he said things. Like, you guys are not going to keep hurting her, and everybody's leaving, and, you know, this, that, and that. Like, it was just so aggressive, and it wasn't our fault they chose to leave or they had to leave. I don't know why my sisters began leaving. For a few of them, I heard what my foster mom told me, but I don't know if that was the truth, you know, so I don't know why they began leaving, but it was just an experience that I hated, because my biological sister left too. She went to live with my dad, and I was there alone, you know, and it started feeling sad and lonely. It didn't feel like the happy family that I walked into. It began feeling, you know, lonely and hard to deal with. And I know that they were going through it, but they didn't have the skills needed to deal with the emotional part of it, to sit down and have a family conversation and help us move past it. It was like they became protective of themselves. And so when I was at work one day, I forgot to take out the trash, but I didn't do it on purpose. I was just busy. I was working, and he grabbed my arm really hard and threw me against the counter. And he was asking me if I was trying to be disrespectful. I said, no, I just forgot. You know, it shocked me because he never put his hands on me before. And I'm like, no, I just forgot. So I took the trash out. I was crying, took the trash out. I came back I think it was like the next weekend or a weekend after that. You know, soon after that, I would say, he did it again where he grabbed my arm. I don't remember what it was, but he grabbed my arm and he tossed me again, and he was asking me a question. And I'm like, you don't have the right to put your hands on me. Like, one time, I let it go, but you're not going to keep putting your hands on me. So after that, I just began acting up and doing what I wanted to do. The new girl that came into the home, her and I were smoking in the room. I just didn't care about my track career anymore. I began leaving the house at night. I snuck a boy over when they were out. We were punished, and I snuck a boy over. I just began doing so much so that I can be moved, because I knew that if I was acting up, 9 times out of 10, you get transferred to another home. They don't deal with the problem. They don't ask you what's wrong. They don't seek to understand. They don't even care how you feel. It's like, she's acting up, she gotta go. So we were moved to another home. I was moved to another home. But before I left, my foster mom, she sat me down and she asked me, would I stay? I told her no. She asked me why. And I just said, I know that you're not gonna leave him. You know, you're married to him. I don't expect you to leave him. And because of that, I have to go. He does not have the right to put his hands on me. And she said she understood. So they ended up moving me to another home. But I didn't realize in doing that I hurt my sister. One of my sisters that I met there, her and I were so close, and I hurt her, and I didn't know that. The same thing that happened to me with my sister Shannon, who apologized on the interview that we had together. You know, she apologized for hurting me and for leaving me. She felt like she abandoned me, and I felt so abandoned. I felt like people just didn't care, you know, how I was feeling, this, that, and the other. How could she leave? It was just hard to deal with, and I didn't take the time to stop and realize that my sister was hurting because I did the same thing. So when we had the opportunity to talk on the phone, or I think we were texting back and forth, she told me how she felt. And from the bottom of my heart, I apologized, because I didn't mean to hurt her. I didn't even stop to consider her feelings, because I was hurting. And I didn't mean to hurt her, and I love her dearly. So I get it. Even though I'm not her mom and it's not my responsibility and this, that, and the other, I can say whatever. She's still my sister, and I still hurt her. So I apologize for how she was feeling. And yeah, I left when I was 14. And it was the hardest thing I had to do, but I refused to sit there and be talked to however, or have somebody put their hands on me. I wasn't having it. I was not, no, we're not doing that. So yeah, but overall, like I said, it was a great experience. I have so many things traditions that I took along with me, because I loved how it felt when I was a child. And so I share them with my kids. And then there were experiences that I just learned from. I don't regret being there. I don't regret, I don't say, oh, I wish I never was in foster care, because it was a lesson for me. It taught me so much, and it helped me become the person I am today. So yeah, I don't regret it. I just take it for what it is. Yeah, because it's a waste of time to be angry and to be, resentful or be miserable, or it just takes up too much time. So I just look at the blessings, find the lessons, put it together, and move forward. So yeah, that was Boyertown in a nutshell. Later on, I will be making other videos on experiences I had with individual people in this home that meant so much to me, because it was the start of my family, my extended family. And there are so many great memories that I can share, and I would love to share, because foster care is not all negative. It's not only about, this platform is not only about sharing the negative and sharing the abuse and the things that happen. It's also about sharing positive moments, because as foster children, we already are hurt because we got taken away from our families. We were removed, ripped away, whatever. And no one really stopped to say or care how you were feeling. And even if they did ask you, how are you? As a child, you're hurting. You really probably don't know how to express it. Then you have to go with strangers and try to open up to them, and then move from place to place and create new friends. And you're angry because you wanted to stay at the last home. I don't know what your experience is, but I know that it can be seen in a negative way if we don't stop to see the lessons and blessings that came out of our situation. So I know it naturally, you say, if there's a God, why did he allow this to happen? Why am I hurting? Why am I not home? Why was I born to the parents that I was born to? Listen, sir, I can give you a Christian answer, or I can give you a worldly answer, but those answers are really not going to matter, because you want answers from the people that hurt you. What I can give you is tools that will help you move forward. So for me, as I got older and I had children and I wanted to create a new life for myself, I began to realize that I had to let go. And the only way to let go not only was to forgive, but have those hard conversations. Another tool is just digging up what the positive moments were, what the lessons were, holding on to those, write them down. And you can tear it out the notebook, fold it up, put it in a jar. So then when you need anchors, to keep you upbeat and happy and motivated, you pull it out the jar and you read it. And these memories are just positive memories in a jar or in a notebook. No negative memories. It's easy to remember the bad things that happened to us. It's so easy. But it's a lot more, not difficult, but it takes more effort and it takes more work to remember the positive moments if they're not prevalent in your mind. So write them down. Write every positive, great, enjoyable memory that you can come up with and put them in a jar and begin to read them. As you read them, you put them in another jar. So then you can just recycle, go back and forth, and just remember. And eventually this jar will fill up with positive memories. Because when I realized that my life was given to me for a purpose, it helped me to look at these positive memories and be able to go back and apologize to people that I hurt, forgive people that hurt me, just be grateful, share happy memories with people that I lived with, and create this podcast for you. So I don't want you guys to be angry. I want us to work towards healing and living a better life. And remember that you have the power to change what you do not like. Our minds attract, our words create, our actions will cultivate the life we live. And the best part of it is that you get to decide what you want in your life and what you don't want in your life. It is up to you to live your life. So don't let nobody else live it. You have to do the work it takes to get to where you need to be. You guys, I thank you for joining me.